Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Monday. Hope your work week's off to a good start. Thanks for hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos, and we have a lot to cover over the next couple of hours. LSU wins a game back on Saturday afternoon in Tiger Stadium. We'll react to that. Michael Katz covers Ole Miss, and there's a circus going on in Oxford currently. They've got a team that's really good. They're going to the playoff. They don't know where their coach is or where he's going or whether or not he's staying. There's a lot going on in Oxford, and it may have something to do with what goes on here in Baton Rouge. So we'll talk to Michael Katz about that, including the scene that was Oxford, Mississippi on Saturday night. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Jeremy Burnham with Ochsner with us a little bit later on in this hour. We'll talk to Denton Day as well. My SEC picks against the spread. We really have to dive into that at the top of hour number 2. So there's just a lot to get into. Let's crank it up like we do every day. It's our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Look, I picked Arkansas back on Friday. I did not think that LSU's defense would slow Arkansas down. I did not think that LSU's offense would produce even against a bad Arkansas defense. I was wrong. LSU's defense played a really, really good football game, and the offense did enough to get a win inside Tiger Stadium. You look back at the start of that game, and it kind of started the way I figured it might. Like, I didn't have a block punt for a touchdown, but 14-0 Hogs, okay, like, I could see that, and I could have seen it getting away from LSU. But credit to those guys, credit to that team for bowing its neck, coming back, and making sure that they were going to play hard and do enough to win the game. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to play hard. They don't have their head coach. Guys may be looking at the NFL. Guys may be looking at the transfer portal. You don't have your starting quarterback. You don't have your defensive captain. Like, it could have been a lay-down situation. Tiger Stadium was not full. It was an early morning kickoff. Like, a lot of factors point in the wrong direction for LSU, down 14-0 in that game. And ultimately, you saw a defense respond and an offense get it done. And I think I will lead with the defense here because you get that punt block for a touchdown, and then Arkansas goes down and gets a score, and you look up, and it's 14-0. And from there, LSU really put the clamps on a good Arkansas offense. That team stinks. They never win. They find ways to lose. They're a losing football program and organization right now. And they did that on Saturday, and LSU found a way to win. And the defense held Taylor Green to 11 for 19 passing for 165 yards. This is the nation's leader in total offense. He completed 58% of his throws for $165, threw 2 picks, and didn't have a touchdown pass. That's as good as you can play. Mansour Delane gets the interception in the end zone. Thought it was a great pass breakup by DJ Pickett over the middle of the field. I thought A.J. Halsey was flying around, got hurt, came back in the game. Harold Perkins makes a really athletic play to get an interception. Like, LSU's pass defense was excellent. This is a pass defense that has not been excellent really for 3 years. And on Saturday, they played awesome. I don't know what Bobby Petrino is thinking before the end of the first half when he calls a timeout to save some time, brings the team over to the sideline, and then they come back out down there in the red area and go one-on-one, throw a slant, fade, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't executed properly at Mansour Delane. How about, like, anything else in the playbook? But they went in LSU's best guy, and LSU's best guy burned him. And I think Mansour Delane deserves to be a finalist for the Thorpe Award. I think he should probably win the Thorpe Award. I cannot lie to you. I cannot sit here and say I've watched every DB in the country play. I haven't. If you show me some evidence there's somebody that's playing significantly better, I'm open to that information. I just don't have it currently. This guy's been awesome. And he was a good player at Virginia Tech. But he shows up in Baton Rouge as a third-team All-ACC player. He's worked his way to a first-round pick under the tutelage of Corey Raymond. And that's something I talked about on my post-game show on Saturday afternoon. Like, whoever the new coach is, whoever that is, Corey Raymond does not clean out his office. Back out recruiting. Go find me another DJ Pickett and use the development that you're about to show with Mansour Lane as your ammo in recruiting. Because this guy was a good player at Virginia Tech. He's a great player now. And he's been with Corey Raymond for 11 months. Game-changing play by Mansour Lane in the end of the first half there to get that interception. LSU goes down and gets a field goal there to take the lead before halftime. And then you only allowed one touchdown drive in the third quarter. And that was it. You look at Arkansas's drive charts, and the Hogs, after halftime, turnover on downs, touchdown, punt, and then the missed field goal from range. But that's the only times that they got the ball because LSU dominated time of possession in this game. 35 minutes to 25 minutes. You get a 10-minute advantage with you having the football, and at the end of the game, you go down and you get the 5-minute drive that matters to run the clock out. And that's the part that I want to go to next here is Michael Van Buren, the element that he gave LSU's offense that allowed LSU to take the lead and then finish the game. You know, the last touchdown, he makes the play to evade the pressure, roll out to the right, and then hit an open Bauer Sharp in the end zone. That was just using his athleticism to extend a play and then make the play that was available there. That's the best way that Michael Van Buren plays football. He's not always in rhythm. He's not always on time. He's not always accurate. There's a lot of development Michael Van Buren's going to have to go through throughout his career as a college player. But he is a good athlete, and he can make some plays kind of running around. And he did that for the touchdown. And then on the final drive where LSU gets into his 2nd and 16 and he runs for over 30 yards, that's not something that Garrett Nussmeier had available to him. And Michael Van Buren makes that play to get out of a terrible down and distance situation, continue the drive, and LSU ends up running the clock out. So I thought that Van Buren gave you some of those attributes that you hadn't had all year, and they contributed to winning. And then there's the final play I want to talk about. We go from the defense, which, well, I guess the start was awesome job of coming out and playing hard when you fall behind. Then awesome job by the defense to limit Arkansas to only 15 real offensive points. And then Van Buren showing his skill set. And then the fourth kind of thing is Harlan Berry's decision at the end of the game, which I thought was so mature and so refreshing to see. Because LSU is sitting here with a 1-point lead. You've got the ball. Clock's getting down. Got a timeout, Arkansas. LSU comes back on the field, and they get the ball to Harlan Berry, who makes a hellacious cut to leave that Arkansas guy standing still at the line of scrimmage and bust it to the outside. And at that point, it's the fourth quarter. Your team hasn't won in a month. You've made a guy miss with a great cut. You're in the open field. You're running right at the student section. Like, that is a dream for a freshman to put that thing in the end zone. And Harlan Berry slides. Now, I don't know if they told him on the sideline to do that pre-snap. I don't know if that's something that he determined he was going to do, if he had the awareness in the moment to do it. Any way you slice it, the coaching that he got, his ability to do it, to hit the deck in that spot as a freshman was wise beyond his years and was awesome. Because, look, you go down there and score, you kick the extra point, go up 8, you're going to kick the ball back to Arkansas with over a minute to go, and, like, they got a decent chance to go down there and get points. Like, I wouldn't have bet on it the way LSU's defense was playing, but that's a good offense you've got there. And a good offensive coach, playmaking quarterback. Like, you absolutely bring losing into the equation if you go score a touchdown. I don't think you would have lost, but you bring losing into the equation if you go score a touchdown on that play. He didn't. And it's not one that generally is going to make the highlight tape, not one that a lot of people are going to talk about from the game, but it's one that I absolutely wanted to kind of finish my thoughts on this game with that, because I was so impressed with Harlan Berry. The move was awesome. The speed to get to the outside was great. The awareness to hit the deck in that spot was awesome to see. So for LSU, like, look, this is not one that I think I'm not going to make the point that, Harlem Berry, great day running the football. Caden Durham, great day running the football. Michael Van Buren, the quarterback of the future. What a great momentum-building day for LSU's football program. Like, I'm not going there. I don't know who the coach is going to be next year. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be next year. I don't know who the running back's going to be next year. I don't know anything about next year's team. There's about to be a lot of upheaval at LSU. Head coach, position coaches, current roster, high school recruits, like the whole thing is being shaken up. So I'm not here to give you some sort of big picture program momentum thing. This was about a great afternoon on Saturday for those players who hadn't won in a month. For that coach to lead that team, his home state team, out of that tunnel with 40 of his family members there, and then for him to get the ice bath, and then for him to go into the locker room and get all fired up with the guys. If y'all have seen that video on Instagram of him turning that corner and going nuts with the guys, like, that's what I talked about on Friday. Like, I don't know if they'll play well. I don't know if they're going to beat Arkansas. I picked them to lose. You will get effort from that team right now. It's so rare in college athletics that players quit, that they lay down, that they don't give effort. It happens sometimes, but it's rare. And you got that great effort from LSU, and it was obvious that was coming. It was obvious if you walked by football practice last week like I did. It was obvious talking to the players. It was obvious listening to Frank Wilson. And they didn't get off to a good start, but they brought energy and effort. And they played well on defense. They did enough on offense. You want to give them, if you want to give them the Harlem Berry's touchdown at the end, they would have scored 30. So that's good. But the defense holds Arkansas to 15. That's great. And good for those guys to have that afternoon in that stadium to celebrate a win. Because, look, it's been a month. And you never know what's to come. So when you got an opportunity to win a game like that, go do it. Great for them. I don't think it means a hill of beans to LSU's football program moving forward, but it's a good night to be a Tiger in that stadium on Saturday night. So good for them getting that victory. LSU wins it 23-22. Now, there is that big picture that's looming. And that's moving forward with LSU into a coaching search. And I believe what you saw in Oxford, Mississippi on Saturday was a big-time moment in Ole Miss football history that I think is going to have a wild turn of events in the next 2 weeks. So I want to talk about that from my perspective in the next segment. We'll get to Michael Katz in Oxford, who covers Ole Miss, 15 minutes from now. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis brings you our opening drive. Every car is on the lot at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every car that's on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com, I should say. So if you're living in a delivery world, you need food, you get it delivered. You need toiletries, you get them delivered. You need groceries, you get them delivered. Get everything delivered. You can get your car delivered. Get the test drive sent right to your front door. If you decide you want to purchase it, they'll send that to your front door as well. It's all about customer service, convenience, and the experience that comes with being a Genesis driver. As I mentioned, like if you got a tight schedule or you can't get out to Airline Highway to test drive the car, have them come to you at the office. Have them come to you at home. One of their sales team will drive up. You can get behind the wheel, test drive it. If you decide that's what I want, they'll digitally deliver you the car and the contracts right there. It's all about convenience at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's an unbelievable line of vehicles. Every single model in the line is an IHS top safety pick. So you know you're in one of the safest cars on the road. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find that entire inventory online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, we'll go to Oxford here in 15 minutes. I realize that LSU played a game on Saturday. They got another one coming up. And there's a lot going on here, but I think this is the national story of college football that very, very much involves LSU. So I want to spend some time on it, and then we'll get Michael's thoughts from Oxford here in 15 minutes. Let me paint you this picture as I see it from obviously the outside, but as I see it in Oxford right now. Ole Miss played a primetime game on Saturday night. They played the Florida Gators at home, at night, and won the game to move to 10-1 on the season. They have an off week this coming week, and then they play in Starkville against Mississippi State. They've never in their history won 11 games in a regular season. So if they beat Mississippi State in Starkville, they'll go 11-1, lock in a playoff spot with the greatest regular season in school history. I mean, I guess you could talk about one of the teams in the 50s that went undefeated under Vaught, but like, this is as good as it's ever been at Ole Miss in most people's lifetimes. And Saturday was that time to relish in that. And they packed the stadium with the biggest crowd in the history of Ole Miss football, more than 68,000. And you can snicker at that from down here in Baton Rouge, and that's fine. Like, it's Ole Miss. It's significantly smaller stadium than Baton Rouge, and that may tie into what we're getting into here. But that's as good as they can do. The Grove, Vaught Hemingway, at night, light shows, taking over in the second half, running the football, beating Florida, setting up a potential 11-1 season. And in all of that awesomeness, Lane Kiffin went to the podium and was asked if he would be the coach at Ole Miss next year, and he just didn't answer. Said, I love what we're doing here. I don't want to talk about that. It's not respectful to our players. It's not pertinent to what we're talking about here. Those guys played so well. We played so well. Today was awesome. But he wouldn't say, yeah, I'm going to be the guy. This is he's built this program from the ashes to this point, and he won't answer the question. And now, because of that, you've got politicians in Mississippi tweeting at him about how he needs to reciprocate the love that Mississippi has shown him and give them an answer. He's got a contract extension on his desk. He won't sign it. Look at what's gone on around the country. Mike Elko signed a contract extension this weekend. Kirk Cignetti signed a contract extension during the season. It's right there. He won't sign it. And you've got folks in Gainesville feeling very confident that he's going to be Florida's next coach. You're starting to hear buzz in Baton Rouge that there's significant potential that LSU is targeting Lane Kiffin. And he's not quieting any of it in the midst of the most important run of his coaching career. And you're starting to hear people in Oxford that cover that team say, look, people are losing patience at Ole Miss, and they may be adamant that they need an answer now. And you could potentially see over the course of the next 2 weeks, Lane Kiffin just leave a playoff team for LSU or Florida. That could happen. It would be unprecedented. I don't know that it would be the last time it happens because of this crazy schedule that we've got, but because of when firings now happen, and because when high school signing day is, and because of when the portal opens, and because of also when the playoff is played, if you're going to jump ship, well, you may have to do it before that season concludes. And that possibility is now really growing in Oxford. Until he says, I'm not going anywhere, here's the contract extension, you're just fanning the flames. And the flames are just about out of control in North Mississippi. It's such an odd situation because you coach and you do that to get to the pinnacle of the sport. And if Lane Kiffin leaves Ole Miss for either Florida or LSU, which is still very much a possibility, he would be leaving with an opportunity to be at the pinnacle of the sport. Like, Ole Miss has lost one game this year in Athens, Georgia, to a top 5 team. I don't think it's a ridiculous overreaction to suggest that this Ole Miss team could win the national championship. I wouldn't bet on them. I think there are 4 or 5 teams that are better than them. But it's not impossible. And he would essentially be throwing up the white flag and going, I just don't know if I can win here, even though, like, this team could win. 15 years ago, leaving Oxford, Mississippi for Gainesville, Florida, and or Baton Rouge, Louisiana would have been a no-brainer. But in an era where Vanderbilt's knocking on the playoffs door and Indiana's already in the playoff, and they were last year, this is their second year in a row they're going to make it, and Ole Miss is making this playoff, like, you got to kind of redirect the prism with which you view the sport. And it feels like Lane Kiffin is looking for his way out of Oxford. And it might be a situation where the powers that be in Ole Miss help him pack his bags before they play Mississippi State in 2 weeks. That's not me reporting. I'm not telling you that's going to happen. I obviously don't have tight sources in Oxford, but I can read and I can listen to podcasts and I can watch press conferences. And the way that Dan Lanning and Kirk Cignetti and Mike Elko are handling themselves in the midst of this great stuff is the exact opposite of the way that Lane Kiffin is handling himself in Oxford. And the folks at Ole Miss love him because of what he's done there. He took a program that absolutely stunk and accomplished nothing ever and has taken it toward the top of the SEC. They're going to beat Mississippi State in 2 weeks, in my opinion, and they'll have won 50 games in the last 5 years. That is an average of 10 wins per season at Ole Miss, not with like one quarterback who got it done. Over 5 years, he's done this, and they love him for that. But they've got to do this song and dance every November. Hey, you going to Auburn or you're not? You going to Auburn? You're not? Okay, and then you tell us that you needed Oxford more than Oxford needed you, and that your family's going to be there. And then all of a sudden, you look up, and you got an opportunity to stay at Oxford, and it's like, well, probably going to look around. I mean, I was listening to Blue Sky Live, which is Chase Parham and Neil McCrady's podcast. Those two guys have covered Ole Miss for 2 decades. And they said today on that podcast that Layla Kiffin, Lane's ex-wife, who lives in the same area as the family and they co-parent their 3 children, that she was in Gainesville yesterday. That's what Chase Parham said this morning on their podcast. And it's, to me, it feels far, and this is just my opinion from reading and watching Lane Kiffin and listening to those guys in Oxford, and we'll see what Michael says in 5 minutes when we have him on. And his view may be different than mine. I'm just reading tea leaves and making guesses. I thought as of 2 weeks ago, based on timing, that Lane Kiffin was going to stay at Ole Miss. I think it's less than a 50% chance as I sit here today on Monday that he will be there for 2 more weeks. I think the thing that would change that is if Lane Kiffin woke up one morning this week. They don't have a game this week. If he woke up on Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday of this week and went, I can't leave a playoff team. And I think that would cement him in Oxford for what I believe to be a very long time. Because at that point, LSU would have come open twice. Florida would have come open twice. A&M would have come open. Bama came open. And he hasn't gotten into his jobs. He hasn't left. It's possible. But I'm telling you right now, I think his time at Ole Miss is done. I think he's going to take one of these 2 jobs. And it will be such a dark day for Ole Miss football when that happens. When you get the guy who finally pulls you out of the rut and brings you into national relevance, and he decides in the middle of the best run in school history, I can't do it here. That is a gut punch that is going to be difficult to swallow for the people in Oxford. And they'll throw their arms around the next head coach and say, this guy actually does love us, and this is the guy we're more than Lane Kiffin. But the fact of the matter is that if you want to look at the last 50 years, they're not more than Lane Kiffin. They're Eli Manning and Lane Kiffin. And that's about it. And Eli's out of eligibility, and I think Lane is headed out of town. And that is a startling deal for LSU. And if you're looking at it for Ole Miss, and if you're looking at it from an LSU perspective, 1, he may be your next coach. 2, Ole Miss is one of your permanents. They're one of your annuals. What's that going to look like if he's not there? I know what the odds would say. The odds would say not very good. And if you're an Ole Miss fan, you can point to the collective being great, and you can point to the athletic director is doing a good job, and you can point to what Ole Miss has done over the last 5 years, and you can try all that. But there's one reason that's all chugging along. And he wears the visor and the sweatshirt. And I don't think it's going to be red and blue next year. So that's where I am on this thing. I wanted to give you my perspective on it. Now we're going to step aside. We'll go to Oxford. We'll talk to Michael Katz. I texted with him earlier today to kind of get his pulse on kind of where things were. And he said, look, I don't know anything, but I just want him to paint the picture as he sees it. He was in Vaught-Hemingway on Saturday. He was in that press conference on Saturday night, and he's in that town right now. And obviously there's nothing that's buzzing in Oxford, Mississippi quite like the Lane Kiffin saga and where things sit right now. I think it's, quite frankly, more interesting than LSU beating Arkansas, and I think it's more interesting than LSU getting ready for Western Kentucky. There are some more things for LSU we want to talk about with the quarterback situation and all that we'll get into. But right now, to me, this is the most compelling thing in college football, and LSU is right in the middle of it. So we'll come back and talk with Michael Katz about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Chugging along here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate y'all for starting your work week with us. Let's head out to Oxford, Mississippi, where things are a little bit interesting at the moment. Michael Katz covers the Ole Miss Rebels for the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here. Michael, how are you?
Never a dull moment here, as you know.
It's kind of the same around here, to be quite frank. Just not a lot of wins. There are plenty of those in Oxford, Mississippi, but the question is, how many more does Lane Kiffin have there? What I want to do with you right now is paint me the picture this weekend, Saturday, pregame, during the game, and then postgame press conference. Like, what was your perspective of that entire day on Ole Miss's campus?
I mean, it was I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it, just because obviously people here are a little bit on edge, the fans and people around the program, and obviously there's a lot of rumors going around, and then of course you've got Florida traveled to this game too fairly well, and you've got fans in the Grove wearing "We Want Lane" shirts and stuff like that, and then you've got this just electric atmosphere for a game that I think was probably a little bit closer than people thought it would be coming in, and Ole Miss wins that game, and one of probably the best crowd I've seen since I've been here in my fifth season covering them. best crowd I've seen. Then after the game, you've got fans chanting, "We want Lane." You've got this 10-1 team that is doing things that I don't think a lot of people thought they were going to do this year. And, for better or worse, that's not what anybody's talking about. And so then you go to the post-game press conference and, normally you'd be talking about a very good game that had some, interesting turning points. And that was not what anybody wanted to talk about. Obviously he had to ask questions about his future and we didn't get any answers, which wasn't particularly surprising. That's generally how he operates. It was an amazing atmosphere. It was an amazing game. And it's, you've got this team that is on the verge of making the playoff. It's ranked in the top 5 in the AP poll right now. And, it's kind of on the back burner, because everybody wants to know who is he going to be the head coach here, for the playoff run, for next year. Like what is going to happen? I don't think anyone really knows quite yet.
Maybe Lane doesn't even know, but he's certainly not saying anything publicly to indicate that he's committed to Ole Miss for the long term. How is that playing in Oxford right now?
It's playing about as well as you can, as you would imagine it is. I think there's just a lot of. I think people are a little frustrated, and I don't think anyone. Again, we're not surprised. This is how he's operating. This is how he's always operated. He's never talked about this stuff during the season, and he it seems like every year there's some job that he's up for or that he's being mentioned with, and it just generally is. He hasn't ever been one to talk about it, but I think people are frustrated because listen, he's built this program up and they're doing things that frankly they have probably never done before, and if they have, it was in the '60s at Ole Miss, and you've got a championship caliber program right now, and I think that he's said all these great things about Oxford and how it's changed him, and this is a place he's never been happier, and I think that fans are like, okay, well, you're saying all this, why don't you just sign a new contract, or why don't you commit? I think there's this sort of disconnect there that is frustrating for people. That that E60 documentary that came out a few months ago about how Oxford's changed his life, and I think people are a little frustrated because it's been so great for you, but why won't you commit to us? I think there's that disconnect is frustrating for people.
Do you have a good answer or your opinion on that as to why I'm assuming there's a contract extension from Keith Carter on his desk that would make him the highest paid or one of the highest paid coaches in all of football. Do you have an opinion as to why he hasn't signed that?
I mean, it's the way he operates. I think there's probably some negotiation, leveraging situations going on when you're hearing people out. You obviously you get a little bit more at the table with where you're at, and there's probably NIL implications. I'm sure there's a lot of different things that are being negotiated through, and of course, and the agents do what agents do, and I think they're always trying to get as much leverage as they can. So, I know Keith Carter has said that. He said a few months ago that he wanted to get something done. It's probably frustrating for people that it hasn't gotten done, but it's not surprising because I think the earliest he's ever gotten one done was like December in terms of extension. So this is just kind of the way it goes with him.
Michael Katz covers Ole Miss for the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal, talking Lane Kiffin and his situation there in Oxford. I'm not going to hold you to this, but do you have a feeling on what the next 6 weeks holds for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss?
It honestly kind of depends when you ask me. Honestly, I'll 1 second, I'm like, I think it stays, and then I read something like, oh boy, I'm going to be covering a coaching search. Obviously, it's minute to minute here, and I don't know if he knows quite yet, and I think that's probably something people need to kind of put into perspective here. Is that I don't think a decision has been made yet, one way or the other. Obviously it's the bye week, so maybe this provides a little clarity, but maybe not. Obviously, you got the Egg Bowl coming up too. But this is a program that's trying to make the playoff and do what it could do last year and do something it's never done before, which is make a playoff. So, I think Lane is focused on the season. I know he was hyper focused on the Florida game. I am curious what the bye week looks like for him, and if anything sort of develops. But I honestly, depending when you ask me, I'll probably have a different answer for you about what it looks like.
Look, if he decides to stay and signs that contract extension, we know what that looks like. It looks like Ole Miss winning a lot of football games while he's the head coach there. So that's not really a question we need to ask. The question would be the bigger variable. If he leaves for Florida right after the Egg Bowl or right before the Egg Bowl, before they play a playoff game, what does that mean for Ole Miss football? And what about his legacy there, I'm assuming, would be drastically different?
Yeah, you kind of go from people wanting to build a statue to no one's ever going to want to say your name again, and if they do, there's probably going to be some choice words around it. It's really kind of crazy how everything, the legacy and the wins and everything that he's done here and taken his program to levels it really hasn't been at. Again, Ole Miss has 11 10-win seasons ever, and 4 of them have been in the last 5 years under Lane. You can't deny what he's done here. But I think that all that goodwill kind of goes out the window if he goes not just to another place, but an SEC school. That's a killer, especially Florida, because that one's been talked about for really since last year when people thought Billy Napier might get canned. Obviously, he survived a year, but when things weren't going great early for Florida, Lane's the first thing that comes up. So, it's fascinating. I don't, fair or not, I think that his entire legacy changes if he goes, and I think Ole Miss is still going to be in a good place. This program is, they got the funding, the NIL, the collective, the facilities. Everything in Oxford is in a pretty good place. Obviously, having a head coach makes a huge difference. But I think if Lane did leave, I think Keith is a really good athletic director. I think he would find a good guy for the job. Obviously, it's hard to know would they win at the same level that Lane has, but I think that they are in a good spot if it does happen.
It's going to be fascinating. Should be a wild ride there in Oxford either way. Michael Katz covers Ole Miss for the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. Good enough to give us a little bit of time on this Monday. Enjoy it, and whatever the future holds here for the next couple of weeks, we'll catch up down the road.
All right, talk to you later, man.
That is Michael Katz. I think it's just evident to me, again, and this is, we know that 3 years ago, that Lane was all the way down the road for Auburn because he was going to take that job, and then his family kind of convinced him not to do it. And then now you've got all this noise that he just refuses to tamp down at the most important spot in his coaching career. Like, he's 50 years old. This is the biggest spot he's ever coached in, and he's not tamping down the drama. It just feels like he's always been looking for the escape hatch. And there are 2 of them now that have bigger brands than Ole Miss in the last 30 years of the sport. Neither one of them is in a great spot right now, and Ole Miss is. But maybe this is the escape hatch he's looking for. This is something that I'll stick my neck out to an extent here. Not too far, but a little bit. I think Lane Kiffin's going to leave Ole Miss. I think he's going to leave Ole Miss. I don't know if he's coming to LSU. I don't know if he's going to Florida. But I think he's going to leave. It wouldn't stun me if he stayed. It would be one of those deals where he woke up and said, it's like the Auburn deal. He woke up and went, I just can't. And that wouldn't stun me. But if you made me right now, I would say he's going to leave Ole Miss in the middle of a playoff run. And I think that is wild. So we'll see. Let's take a time out, come back, close out the hour with Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Oxford next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up hour number 1 here on this Monday. Sports Health, presented by Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Chatting with Dr. Jeremy Burnham, who joins us every couple of weeks. Dr. Burnham, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. I want to talk about Joe Burrow because I saw the report last week that he is opening his practice window, is eligible to return over the next 21 days from what was a very significant foot issue, turf toe issue. And the general consensus from the NFL reporters that I was following was that this is way quicker than they had anticipated. I'm curious, in your experience, like what, in terms of rehab and aggressiveness and, you know, the patient, like how does one progress more rapidly than others?
Well, I think it really is a team approach. From what I read, he went down and had surgery with Dr. Andrews' team in Florida. And I think, when you take a competitive athlete that is driven, and then you take a team of people around him between, the people with him on his team, but also the sports medicine team and rehab and all those types of things, and you can achieve some amazing outcomes. And obviously he's committed and dedicated to doing it. He's probably doing very well in his rehab course. I think the earliest reported return to play that I saw in the NFL after this type of surgery was 12 weeks, and it's usually 15 to 16. So he's a little bit ahead of that, But I think when you do everything just right and you're a competitor and also a great athlete, that sometimes you can do that a little bit faster than average.
I mean, I realize that guys want to get back on the field. But can you give it more effort as far as rehabilitation, or is it just a deal where the doctors have done a great job and he's got a body that is willing to heal? I mean, I would imagine that it's not a deal where he's just trying harder than other players would be trying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of all of the above. Some things you just have to wait on the body's biology to heal. There's certainly cases where if you don't do rehab with the intensity and consistency that you need to, that you won't get better as soon as you should. But no matter how great you are at the rehab, there's still some part of that you're just waiting on your body to heal. Now, he's young and he's healthy, and you would imagine that he is doing everything he can to optimize his nutrition and his sleep and every other part of the rehab. And I do think people have better outcomes when they really can manage it holistically like that, and that really shows in this case as well.
He is tenacious in just about every aspect of his football life, so not a huge surprise there for Joe Burrow. We're talking earlier today, on Friday, over at Nexus, Louisiana, y'all had a technology fest, and we talk about the preventative measures that y'all are researching with ACL injuries. Can you kind of give us an update on what you saw last Friday?
Yeah, Hunt. I mean, we just really that was a part of one of the coolest things I think I've had or been a part of in my career. So Nexus, Louisiana, is basically a company. Shout out Tony Zanders, they're doing some really innovative things in this state, and they're bringing together the best talent from all over the state. And they held something called Dev Days, and that basically was a tech competition. And they put some parameters out there, and the main goal this year was injury prevention. We talk a lot about ACLs, right? Our number one goal is to try to prevent them from happening at all. And so they sent this out around the state, and they had, I think, 70 different teams sent in proposals, and they picked the top 10 of those proposals. And then we went over there Friday and basically spent the afternoon listening to the proposals and then judging and picking a winner. And I was just blown away with the talent in the state. Most of these are college students, undergrad, master's students. And really the things that they came up with, all 10 of the presentations literally just blew me away. And I told them all this at the end. I said any of these things, if they were to implement them fully, would make a huge difference in our state. They focused a lot on, individualized plans for patients depending on what their movement patterns were, or the sport they played, or their individual biology in terms of how to get them back. The winning team was called NEVA, so kind of a play on words in knee there, and they really focused on the female athlete, and they had a dashboard and computer software that basically would kind of give you an individualized risk and then come up with an individualized training plan. And what was really cool, Hunt, is they had a prototype of a knee brace that would detect the knee going into a risky position and would then basically inflate and activate and keep the knee from tearing the ACL. And it really just blew me away. I was so impressed, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these things are going to develop into.
It's incredible to hear stuff like that right here in our state at the forefront of all that. Ochsner right in the middle of it. Dr. Burnham, we appreciate a ton of your time today. Let's have a great week.
Great talking to you, Hunt. Thank you.
Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Ochsner with us every other Monday. That's, incredible to hear. Whenever Dr. Burnham talks about this kind of stuff, one, I'm just blown away at the ability that some people have. I sit here and yap about sports. They're making a real difference out here. But I think about something that Theo Epstein said, who was obviously a Hall of Fame executive, will be a Hall of Fame executive, who helped snap the curse of the Red Sox and the Cubs. And when he left the Cubs, he was asked, what's on the next forefront for baseball as far as cutting edge stuff? Because it was the Moneyball stuff, right? That was the big deal, and the advanced analytics, that was a big deal. And he said, if you could figure out a way to help prevent injury, then you would be on the cutting edge, and you would have a huge advantage over all the other organizations. And the folks over at Ochsner are making a difference into trying to do things preventatively. He's mentioned multiple times on this show that female athletes are at a greater risk of tearing the ACL. And so to have the prototype that they're introducing there, that these young people are creating, that could potentially have the technology to prevent some of that, is absolutely amazing to hear, and something for our state to be proud of, which I like, because there's sometimes we look up and go, huh, not again, but not in that case. I appreciate Dr. Burnham for shedding some light on that. So that's going to wrap up hour number 1 here on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. A lot of Lane Kiffin talk here in hour number 1. There is also some news, and I've got about 50 seconds so I can bring this up. We've got a story up at louisianasports.net. We got some information earlier today that we haven't been able to confirm. The Lane Kiffin's ex-wife, Layla, is in Baton Rouge today looking around. So she was in Gainesville yesterday. That was according to Chase Parham, who I heard earlier. I talked about that earlier today. Now Layla Kiffin is looking around. So that's just the situation where things are. And it's why I said back in our last segment, I've said earlier on, I think Lane Kiffin's time in Oxford is coming to a close. We'll see. He can always change his mind, but it just feels like the way things are trending right now. Going to be in Gainesville, going to be here? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit more in hour number 2. Got Denton Day in 35 minutes. We'll come back with our second hour on this Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GV80 is such an awesome ride. It's their midsize SUV. It's perfect for a small family like the one that we have in the Palmer house. Got enough room, but it's also stylish, comfortable, and it's an IHA top safety pick, one of the safest cars on the road. If you're looking for a new SUV, how about the GV80? Go check that out at Genesis of Baton Rouge. They're on airline at Pico. If you're in the market for a new vehicle in Baton Rouge, I always say, you're probably on airline anyway. Just stop on by at Pico. You'll see their amazing facility, their amazing staff, and their amazing line of vehicles that I promise you will blow you away. If you have not been by Genesis, you have not been behind the wheel of a Genesis, just put them on your list. Maybe it's a holiday new car. Maybe it's a 2026 new car. Genesis Baton Rouge is happy to help you out there. Airline at Pico. We're online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, We've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. We start with NFL injury news. In Atlanta, the Falcons may be without quarterback Michael Penix Jr. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the second-year quarterback is expected to miss the remainder of the season after suffering a knee injury yesterday. ESPN Radio's Clinton Yates says this injury could have long-term effects beyond this year.
Michael Penix Jr. is a nice kid. He's a good guy. He's dealt with this before, and it was devastating then, and it feels devastating now.
Another team is dealing with a quarterback injury. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, there's concern that Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers may have suffered a break in his left wrist during yesterday's win over the Bengals. Also, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Eagles offensive lineman Lane Johnson has a Liz Frank injury, which could land Johnson on an injury reserve but is not expected to be season-ending. The Jets are making a quarterback change. The team has benched Justin Fields in favor of veteran Tyrod Taylor. Tonight at Monday Night Football, the Cowboys visit the Raiders. Dallas is 3-5-1. Vegas 2-7. The game kicks off just after 8 Eastern on ABC and ESPN. To the NBA, according to ESPN Shams Charania, Paul George will make his season debut for the Sixers tonight against the Clippers. He had knee surgery in the offseason.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Tuesday, the Eagles and the Rams are both 8-2. But who will be number one on my power rankings? Find out at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Appreciate you hanging with us. Hope that work week's off to a good start. Denton Day, 30 minutes from right now. We'll talk some Lane Kiffin with him and some other things in college football. I got to tell you this, Jordan. Made my picks back on Friday.
Yep.
And I'll tell you this. I had Missouri, and they covered.
Yep.
It was 6.5 was the line. Missouri easily covered against Mississippi State. So it was a great finish to the day.
Yeah.
Let's see how the rest of the day went. I had Texas A&M minus 19.5. I had Alabama minus 5.5. They lost. I had Tennessee minus 40.5.
What did they do? They ain't covered.
They won by like 36. I had Ole Miss minus 11.5.
Oh, I know.
They won by 10. That didn't get there. And I had Texas plus 6.5.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That's my fault.
1-5. 1-5 on the picks from Friday. That brings our season-long total, unfortunately, to 37-51. 14 games under 500 and completely unrecoverable.
Yeah, I can't even give you a spin zone for that one. That's just, yeah, man.
So, if we're going to talk about complete and total failures like me, let's talk about South Carolina's football team, shall we?
Please start with them. Let's go.
I'm in the press box. Marler's there. He works for us, LouisianaSports.net, handles our social media, but he also handles Locked On Gamecocks. And so he's watching South Carolina and A&M. And look, A&M is playing just atrocious football. They're down 30-3 before at halftime.
Oh, yeah, I felt good.
And I looked at Marler and I said, A&M's going to win by double digits. That's what I told him. And they probably could have if they didn't throw the ball backwards from the 3-yard line and fumble. But they could have because they just whitewashed South Carolina, who couldn't score a freaking point in the second half or get a stop like anywhere.
Yep.
South Carolina probably dropped 4 interceptions in that game on Saturday. And they just choked on applesauce the entire second half against Texas A&M. I was envisioning a scenario where A&M loses to South Carolina, who's abysmal, by the way, and then gets beat and gets beat by Texas to go 10-2, but a 10-2 with such a bad resume that they don't make the playoff. That one, I thought that was on the table.
It was close.
And it didn't happen.
It was close.
Because South Carolina stinks. A&M is pretty good, but the fact remains that all the teams they play are terrible. So that was also evidenced on Saturday. I was looking for the meltdown in College Station. We did not get it, and they're 10-0 at this point. Play some joke team this week, and then Texas at the end of the season. I do think I read something that said if they lose to Texas, that them and Ole Miss will be out of the SEC championship game. It would be Bama, Georgia, which I'm for. I like that. I would much rather that than Ole Miss or A&M getting to Atlanta for the first time. I like to dangle that carrot over their heads that they've never been. So we got to see. But Texas is going to have to beat them, and I don't have any confidence in that after what I watched on Saturday night.
I'm sorry.
As far as Oklahoma and Bama, what an incredible job by Brent Venables. The last 2 weeks, they go on the road and beat 2 top 15 teams on the road. They go to Neyland and win, to Bryant-Denny and win. And I'll just say this. I'll say this. I have one piece of advice for Kalen DeBoer. One little piece of advice. I don't know if he's listening to the show. I'm not sure what he does on Mondays. Probably locks us in from 1 to 3 every Monday from his office. I had to guess. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But here's the one piece of advice I have. Do not lose that Iron Bowl.
Ooh.
Do not follow up a 4-loss season with a 3-loss season that includes losing to an Auburn team that fired its coach. Now, I'm telling you this. In 2 weeks, fired coach, bad season, disastrous offense, the whole deal. Like they're keeping their red shirt on their new quarterback. So Jackson Arnold's going to have to play. That Auburn fan base will fill Jordan-Hare Stadium to the brim, and they will be ready to play Alabama. Now, Bama will probably beat them. But if they expect Auburn to lay down because Auburn's bad, forget it. That fan base is so proud, and that game means so much. They will be ready to play. And if Kalen DeBoer loses that game, he is in big trouble.
It was hot.
He's not getting fired the next day, but he will have lost that fan base, period. And the thing with Alabama this year, and I said this entering the LSU game, even after the LSU game, go back and listen to Monday's show. I just don't think Bama's a championship threat because they don't run the ball and they don't stop the run. And if you don't do those two things, like, yeah, Simpson looks pretty good. Yeah, Ryan Williams is a star. Yeah, like you've got playmakers and weapons, but you don't do the physical things. And you can't beat the best teams when you can't do the physical things. And that's a problem with Kalen DeBoer's Alabama team on both sides of the ball right now. And they get 4th and 1, and they got to dial up a little toss reverse to pick up the yard because they know if they hand the ball off and try to go forward on Oklahoma's defense, they're getting stopped.
And Hunt, that is so blasphemous with Alabama football in the past that they have to get cute to get 1 yard.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That's where they are. And they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team. And pretty good is pretty good a lot of places.
Yeah.
That fan base won't tolerate it. They think they're entitled to fall out of the bed, and we're just awesome. Well, the news is Saban made you awesome.
Yep.
Bear made you awesome. Mike DeBose didn't do that. Mike Shula didn't do that. So maybe Kalen DeBoer is really good and will win 2 championships there. Maybe he's not that good, but they're beholden to him. And I'm just telling you, losing to Oklahoma is one thing, and losing 2 games is one thing. You go lose to that Auburn team and lose the Iron Bowl and don't go to the playoff 2 years in a row, it's going to be a tough scene there in T-Town. So long 2 weeks ahead for Kalen DeBoer here. We talked about Florida and Ole Miss. That was just a big Lane Kiffin saga. But then you got Texas, Georgia. And look, Georgia is just good. And it's really hard to go in there and win in Athens. Bama did it earlier this year. Big credit to them for that. Nobody else has done it in 5 years. And Kirby had a great line afterward, nowadays guys want checks. And if you don't have the physicality part of this thing, you're not getting anything. And you got to be physical. And Georgia was physical. And they just looked to me the better team. They looked to be the better roster. They looked to be more physical, tougher. And I was listening to one podcast today that suggested that maybe Sark could lose his job if A&M goes in there and beats them pretty bad. That seems to be a little ambitious to me. I don't know. that just seems ambitious to me. But it was clear on Saturday that Georgia was the better team. That version of Georgia, I think, is a threat to make some real noise.
Yes.
But you've seen some versions of Georgia where they play a little bit down to competition. It just doesn't look that great. But look, when Ole Miss came in there and when Texas came in there, they were ready to play in those games, and they played really, really well. So let's look around the Southeastern Conference here on this Monday. Here's what we're going to do based on the time. I want to get to Denton in 20 minutes. When we come back, LSU has a new plan at quarterback here moving forward. Frank Wilson talked about that. And we'll talk a little NFC South as well. We'll kind of put two segments into one. Then we'll get to Denton at the bottom of the hour. Don't go anywhere. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'll go ahead and make this announcement now, even though we'll have a post a little bit later this afternoon. I'm going to Swing Easy Golf Club on Sunday. And I'm going to turn on the simulator to the 7th hole at Pebble Beach. It's like a 98-yard par 3. And we're going to stream it live on YouTube on Sunday at 11 o'clock until I make a hole-in-one. So maybe it'll be in the first hour. I might be there for 5 hours. Who knows how long it's going to take me to try to make a hole-in-one. But you're going to be able to guess how many shots it will take me to make a hole-in-one on the Instagram. And you can win swag bag, win a membership to Swing Easy Golf Club. We're going to have a great prize pack to give away for the winner of who guesses how many shots it takes me to make a hole-in-one on a 98-yard hole on the simulator. And we're going to live stream it on our YouTube channel on Sunday. So be looking for that post later today. I'm headed to Swing Easy after I get off the air today. We're going to make that promo. We're going to make that post. You can make that, make your guess, and you'll have an opportunity to win based on how many shots it takes me to make a hole-in-one. It's Swing Easy Golf Club right there on Segan at Perkins. I'll be there today. I'll be there on Sunday. Win some stuff. Go and follow us on Instagram and on Facebook at 1045 ESPN and get ready to win from Swing Easy Golf Club.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
Attention diesel mechanics, River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 1045 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, so news out of Atlanta today with the Falcons. Michael Penix has some structural damage to his knee. He's going to be placed on injured reserve. The report from Pro Football Talk that I'm reading here says he aggravated a bone bruise and knee sprain he initially suffered earlier in the season. There's been damage to his ACL. If you'll remember, Penix had 2 ACL surgeries in his right knee in college. This is the left knee. But he may be done for the year. It looks like at least 4 weeks. And that means you'll see Kirk Cousins in this game against New Orleans coming up on Sunday. But you look at the Saints' schedule, and you see that it just starts to break really nicely for this team. I don't know whether or not Kirk Cousins is better or worse than Michael Penix day to day. It probably depends. If you're talking about for the price tag, Michael Penix is way better because he's really cheap and Kirk Cousins is not. But as far as the actual play on the field, it's probably negligible. But still, like, it's not the guy that the Falcons wanted to put on the field. So you're going to see, quote unquote, a backup quarterback here for New Orleans. And it starts a stretch of games that, like, you've got a real chance to compete in. You've got a chance against the Falcons at home with, quote unquote, backup quarterback. You go to Miami. I realize they've played a little bit better of late, but that's not a very good team. Now, at Tampa is going to be difficult to win, no doubt. But then you've got the Panthers, you've got the Jets. Both those are home games. You're at the Titans. And then you finish with the Falcons, who we don't think Penix will be available for that one either. So you're catching Atlanta twice without a guy under center that they want to put there. So I'm curious on how Saints fans feel about the ability to win games. I have said for the entirety of the season, I'm not here to evaluate quarterbacks based on their win-loss record in New Orleans this year. I understand you, quote the great Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, so that's the most important stat, but I don't know that it's the most important stat for these Saints this year. Like, I would much rather Tyler Shuck go out there and throw for 311 and 3 touchdowns with an 80% completion rate, and the Saints defense kind of get gashed and you get a punt blocked and you lose a game, then the Saints win 13-9 because and Shuck turns it over 3 times. Like, that to me, I would prefer the good quarterback play to the actual wins and losses, and plus you have the draft to consider. Now, if Shuck plays great and they win 4 of these games and your draft situation moves back towards 10 or 11, like, that's a good problem to have, right? Because your quarterback obviously played pretty well. But you look at the schedule and you feel like starting this week, and I haven't even mentioned that Drake London's hurt and is not going to play in this game. So Atlanta is going to be significantly banged up at really important positions on their roster for New Orleans on Sunday. I think this becomes a game that you feel like is pretty winnable on your home field. I think that while it's been a kind of a malaise that Saints fans have been in for the last 6 weeks, you get a win over the Panthers, and then Shuck plays pretty well in that game, and you come off a bye week, and so the vibes are pretty good. Plus you add in that it's Atlanta, plus you add in it's a backup quarterback. I feel like that's going to lead to a decent environment inside the Dome on Sunday, and maybe that gives you a little bit of momentum, a little shot of life, and all of a sudden you feel like you can turn the corner in the second half of the season and maybe go get a 3rd win in a row against the Dolphins. I realize I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't feel that bad about it. I don't feel that bad about getting ahead of myself. I don't feel that bad about feeling positive after feeling so negative for so long. We had a whole segment back on Friday about how I think Mickey Loomis is doing an awful job, and I didn't think Gail Benson had very good quotes about it. I'm plenty critical when there needs to be something to be critical about, but maybe the vibes are a little bit better this week. Clearly the vibes are not great in Atlanta. That's a real bummer for them, and I'm certainly not here to celebrate an injury. I know people around here don't like Atlanta very much, but I'm not here to celebrate an injury, but I can look at an opportunity. And if you see that the Falcons are on the schedule twice more, they don't have the guy that they want. Maybe Drake London's out. I mean, this is the Bijan show. And if you can show up and shut that down in the same way that you shut down a really good running game in Rico Dowdle with the Panthers before the bye week, like, all of a sudden you might start to get things moving in the right direction. And keep in mind, like, we knew this was going to be a bumpy season for New Orleans. We knew that. But you did always think, but if they can kind of get to the bye week, like, maybe. And, like, you didn't really get to the bye week because you lost all but 2 games. But now you're here, and the last game before the bye week was a win. So maybe there's something to build on this week as Atlanta comes into the Dome. How are we feeling about it, Jordan? We feeling reasonably optimistic, or we're still just the team stinks?
Forget the optimist. I feel like the W's we already won the game. The game's already won.
This is a man,
I'm coming out on Monday.
Man who hates the Falcons.
Oh yeah, man. It's the Falcons week, so I'm fired up. We have the opportunity to put the fork in the Falcons, man. I couldn't want it no better way. And you have an opportunity where Tyler Shuck can go out there and really just put the fork in the Dirty Birds in their season, in their suffering. I need that more than I need air to breathe. Okay. I feel so great about this. It wasn't like Michael Penix was lighting the world on fire. It ain't like old man Kirk Cousins finna. I don't care about none of that. You have an opportunity to kill the Falcons. We are going to end their season. And we're in the Dome off the bye week? Oh, no. The same way how you was talking about trajectory, Saints are kind of looking up a little. No, I ain't getting too far ahead of myself. We ain't looking up like, okay, the better days are coming, but we look better than them. We look way better than them. So I think if you ask me right now on Monday, November 17th, I think the Saints, it ain't going to be a barn burner. It ain't going to be like, we boat racing them, but I think the Saints are going to make a statement. Tyler Shuck is going to make a statement and just put the fork in them. If you don't, oh, Lord. This is going to look stupid. Yeah, we're back. We're back. We're back at the bottom, but, this is opportunity.
It's fun to have a little optimism. We haven't had optimism around here in a while. I'm going to shed a little bit of optimistic light on that. We'll see what the Saints can do against the Falcons coming up. Late afternoon kick from the Dome on Fox. All right, switching over to LSU before we get to Denton Day. It was announced today by Frank Wilson. So there's a report, the Advocate had it first, and we followed up at LouisianaSports.net on Saturday. Colin Hurley has left the team. He did not travel with the team to Tuscaloosa, and he did not make an appearance at the game on Saturday. Matt Moscona asked Frank Wilson about that today, and Frank Wilson said that is not a permanent situation. It's a temporary leave for personal reasons, and that they would welcome him back when the time is right. So right now, you look at things, and Garrett Nussmeier's in street clothes. He's got an injury to the oblique, okay? So he's hurt. And Colin Hurley is not with the team. So Michael Van Buren is your quarterback. You've got Juwan Johnson, who can go over there and do some things at quarterback. He worked with the quarterbacks in the spring. And then you've got Emil Picarella, who is a freshman walk-on from U-High, who is essentially next up. I don't know exactly what the order is behind Van Buren. It's Johnson and Picarella. I don't know how much Juwan is capable of doing at this point after working with the running backs since fall camp. And I don't know how competent Picarella is at all in running the offense. It's really Van Buren's show, but they're razor thin at the quarterback spot if Garrett Nussmeier can't go. We'll continue to get information on that, but it feels like Nussmeier may be a long shot for Saturday based on the fact that he was in street clothes. This is a nagging injury that's been there all season. Feels like the opportunity to re-aggravate that would be present. If he did it in practice, you got to feel like there's a good chance he could do it in a game. I don't know. There hasn't been a report to that. We'll find out. Teleconference Wednesday, injury report Wednesday, press conference Thursday. We'll continue to monitor that throughout the week. But if Nuss cannot go, you're one Michael Van Buren tweaked ankle from having no quarterback. Like Juwan Johnson is not an SEC quarterback in my estimation right now, and Emil Picarella is a walk-on. So it's a tenuous situation for LSU at the quarterback spot. I was on Chuck Oliver's show earlier today and in Atlanta, and they said, what's the future of that position? And I said, I don't know the future of anything in this program right now, anything, because you don't have a head coach that is going to be there for next year. That can change the entire staff on both sides of the football, and quarterbacks transfer in and out like crazy. So I think I honestly would suggest right now, if you made me bet a crisp $5 bill, like, is LSU's 2026 quarterback on the roster? I would probably bet no. Like, Michael Van Buren's got a great chance to be that if he decides to stay and wants to compete and ends up winning the job for whoever the head coach is and whoever the offensive coordinator is. I'm not dismissing him as a possibility. I'm just playing the odds, and based on what this thing looks like, you bring a new head coach in, maybe he brings his quarterback in, or you get into the portal and you go get the hot name that's available this year in December. Like, I don't know how it goes, but I don't have anything definitive to say about LSU's quarterbacks of the future right now. All you can worry about right now is that you got a game to play on Saturday and another one to play the Saturday after that. you've got a starting quarterback who can't throw. You've got a third-team quarterback who's not with the team. You've got a fourth-team quarterback who's a running back and a fifth-team quarterback that's a walk-on. It's really Michael Van Buren or bust at this point. And you like to use his ability to run a little bit, but unfortunately, like that opens him up and makes him susceptible to taking hits and getting hurt. And so does an offensive line that's struggling to protect. So it's a really tough spot to be in if you're LSU right now. We've watched John Troy Kirkland play quarterback in a bowl game. I don't really want to try to watch that again, quite frankly. But it's not a great spot. But hopefully Colin Hurley can come back and rejoin the team. Not here to report on what it is that has him away from the team at this point. But Frank Wilson did say that it's not a permanent situation, that they could welcome him back. So we'll see. But LSU's quarterback situation that looked so healthy, back 13 months ago, and then all of a sudden you lose Bryce Underwood and you lose a couple backups, and you go get Van Buren, but then Hurley steps away from the team, and it's been a bit of a mess at the quarterback spot, and it just hasn't been gone the way that we thought it would go this year. Right now, I think it's Michael Van Buren's football team against Western Kentucky. We'll see what the future holds against Oklahoma, and then who knows what happens in a bowl game. All bets are off for that one for sure. But it appears that Michael Van Buren's not going to keep that red shirt because he plays in one more game. That red shirt is done. So I find it very hard to imagine that LSU is going to send a walk-on out there to play quarterback and preserve Michael Van Buren's red shirt on Saturday. Anything's possible, but I think Van Buren's the guy. And as I mentioned last week, like burning that red shirt sounds awful on its face, but if he can go out there and play 2 good football games, you're negotiating for your next revenue share contract, and your share of that money goes up if you play really well. It doesn't go up as much if you don't play at all. So we'll see what Michael Van Buren can do in the game on Saturday against Western Kentucky. Incidentally, that Oklahoma game did get news on kickoff time for that. LSU Oklahoma Saturday after Thanksgiving, 2:30 Central Time on either ABC or ESPN. That has not been decided yet, but it will be a 2:30 kickoff between LSU and Oklahoma from Norman on Thanksgiving weekend. All right, let's step aside. Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website. Like storm season's always right around the corner. We got through this one unscathed. We like that. But you know the next one's coming. Make sure your property policy is written properly. Make sure your auto policy is written properly. Make sure your cyber, EPL, umbrella policies are written properly. It's not something that business owners generally spend a ton of time looking at or thinking about. But you don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive with your commercial insurance. The Highland Insurance Group will do that. They are an independent broker. They've got contracts with dozens of carriers, and they'll know where your business should be placed, and they'll know how your policy should read. Let them audit your policy for free to see if they can find some potential issues. And if they do, they'd love to fix them for you. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carver and his team, just a group of experts over there at the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Attention diesel mechanics. River Parish Contractors has an immediate full-time opening with benefits. Valid licenses and TWIC card is required to apply. Call or text Big Jake today at 985-479-9858 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on Apply Now. Come be part of the team that values hard work, has a high standard of excellence, and delivers projects on time and safely. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are.
Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care.
Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers along with...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Denton Day, SiriusXM College Football Overtime Fridays and Saturdays. He's with us on Mondays. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Denton, how we doing?
Hunt, what's up, man? It was a fun weekend. The SEC title picture looks a lot more complex than it did 3 days ago.
No thanks to South Carolina. Absolute bums.
I mean, you and I were texting during that game, and I was like, this is it. We're finally seeing exactly what Texas A&M is. We've kind of thought this for a long time. You know, the beneficiary of a really weak schedule, and then South Carolina just takes the number 1 and 2 all over themselves in the second half.
Choked on applesauce. Just absolutely pathetic by Shane Beamer's Gamecocks, and something that I expected at halftime when I told Chris Marler sitting next to me that A&M would win by 2 scores, which they could have if they didn't throw the ball away at the 3-yard line. So what do you think about A&M? I mean, did Saturday change anything?
Not really. You know, it's very clear that they do not have a lot of battle scars. I guess this weekend kind of counts as a battle scar. Maybe it counts as I don't know if it counts as a Heisman moment. If you get yourself down 30-3 but come back from it, I don't know if that's a more positive or a negative thing, especially against a South Carolina team that you're not nearly as talented as. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens when they play good teams, because everyone in the college football playoff is largely going to be better than a lot of the teams they've played this year. So they're in a very unique position. I still think they're a good team, but I definitely don't think they're a great team.
What about Georgia?
They are a great team. I'm eating crow. I didn't think Gunnar Stockton could do it. I think Gunnar Stockton can very much do it. And it's not exactly because they beat Texas the way that they did. That Texas thing was a fun story, but it was just that. It was a story. They were not going to make the college football playoff. I mean, maybe there's a reality where they still can if they beat Texas A&M, but I feel like that ship has sailed, especially now that Oklahoma beat Alabama. But I think Georgia is a legitimately good team. They're good on defense. Not great, but good on defense. And they got a lot of weapons on offense. And now that Gunnar Stockton is playing with some confidence, and they have who I would say is the best coach in college football right now with Kirby Smart, I think they are a legitimate championship contender. I would take them over A&M, that's for sure.
Let me go right down the road from Athens to Atlanta. What am I supposed to take from Georgia Tech beating an atrocious Boston College team by 2 with a 19-6 fourth quarter advantage?
Not much. Honestly, a little disappointing. They should have run Boston College off the field, especially when you talk about a physicality standpoint. I mean, Georgia Tech's whole brand is that they are physical. They're super physical for an ACC team. Their physicality is supposed to be in the same ballpark as some of the Big Ten and SEC teams. And then the game against Boston College this weekend was ugly. And to be fair, Brent Key knew it. I was as upset as I've ever seen a coach who just won a football game in his on-the-field press conference with ESPN, ACC Network, whatever the channel is on. They are limping to the college football playoff. And I think they'll get there because I think they're going to win the ACC championship game. They're better than UVA, but they are not exactly going into the final few weeks of the season with a whole lot of momentum.
Let's talk about Oklahoma, who's got a ton of momentum right now. They win in Knoxville. They go to Tuscaloosa back-to-back weeks on the road, top 15 teams, and get wins. That stuns me. Does it stun you?
It did. It was really impressive. I did not think that John Mateer would be able to make the throws necessary to win, but I also didn't think that Oklahoma, who had played really good defense for a majority of the year, but it showed some real signs of weakness in the passing defense against Ole Miss and Tennessee. I did not think they were going to be able to stifle Ty Simpson the way that they did. That was a really impressive effort by Brent Venables' group. And, we've watched them over the course of the year, and they're a very fast bunch, but I did not think they'd be able to have the amount of success that they did against Alabama. So I was very, very surprised. And offensively, they're still very limited. I like John Mateer. I don't love John Mateer, so they're still very limited on offense. But when you got a defense as strong as they do, you can get away with limited offense.
Do you think Oklahoma's going to make the playoff?
Yes, I do. I definitely thought they were donezo after had they have lost this weekend, but because they beat Alabama and they did it on the road, I do. I think they would have a much better resume than Notre Dame, and I would really, really hope, it's not going to happen, I know this, but I would really, really hope that the people in that room on tomorrow are going to say, you know what, we were wrong. Oklahoma is a better team than Notre Dame, and we're going to rank them ahead of them. They won't, but they should.
It's a pretty loud statement to go into Tuscaloosa and win that game, so we'll see. I would leave that door open. All right, let's talk about the monster elephant in the room here. I don't know how plugged in you are there in our nation's capital, but the Kiffin stuff down here in the Southeast is nuts. They had their best environment in the history of their program on Saturday night. They beat Florida by 10 points, and then he was asked if he was going to stay, and he just couldn't answer the question. So where are you on this whole deal?
So on Friday, I thought he was going to stay and everything was going to be all right. And it's not the comments that he made after that have led me to change my line of thinking here, but the Mike Elko contract is what kind of changed my line of thinking here. Jimmy Sexton can work multiple contracts at once. And I believe Sexton reps Elko. We know for sure that he reps Lane Kiffin, and that contract could be signed. Like, that process to me seems very simple. You go to Ole Miss and you say, hey, we want X, Y, and Z. And then Ole Miss says, not only will we give you X, Y, and Z, we'll give you W-2. You didn't ask for it, but we're going to give it to you because we really want you to stay, and you are the coach of our future. And then you put pen to paper, and it is over. Signetti, it took him 48 hours. As soon as Penn State opened, and he got $90-some-odd million, and you're telling me Ole Miss can't do the same, or that Lane Kiffin does not want to commit to that, there's something there. And I think that there is a realistic chance that he leaves. I just don't know how that works with the calendar. I think their success is really making it difficult for him. If they were a 4-loss team, so to speak, and they were not going to make the college football playoff, I think he would already be gone. But they are actually playing too good for him to leave right now. So it's a very weird dynamic. I would say right now, I would still lean. I'd go 55% he stays, 45% he leaves. But on Friday, I was like 70-30, and it's drastically changed.
It's just, you got politicians in the state tweeting at him now. You've got the fan base that's getting really cranky, and he's just doing nothing to tamp it down during the greatest run in his career. Literally, this is the best situation he's ever been in his career, and he has the opportunity to tamp it down and stay focused on what they're doing, and he doesn't do it. And it just, that speaks very loudly to me.
He's letting his inner demons win because he loves the attention. And we know that he loves the attention because you're right. He could shut all of this up. They could have shut this up weeks ago, and they've just allowed it to go longer and longer. Because think about it. When Penn State opened, you're like, all right, that's an open job. We know that more are going to come. And then LSU opened. You're like, hey, that's an open job. Or Florida opened first. Hey, that's another open job. That raises my value. And then LSU opened. Yep, that's another open job. That raises my value. But if you think about it, all of the jobs that raise his value that are going to be open are already open. So what are you waiting for?
Right.
Like, this should be a very easy contract, not even dispute, but a contract negotiation, and it feels like it's becoming a little bit more of a dispute. I'm stunned at the way that he has handled this. I would have thought that a 26-year-old Lane Kiffin would have handled it this way, but I would not have thought that the 2025 Lane Kiffin would handle it this way.
I've said it all show. I think he's leaving. I don't know if it's to come here or to go to Gainesville, but I don't think he's going to be in Oxford. I don't think he's going to coach a playoff game. I think he will leave before they play a playoff game, and that's just a wild thing to think about. I mean, that would drastically. There are moments in time that like drastically shift the future of this sport. You know, McCaffrey sitting out that bowl game all those years ago is one of them that kind of led to more players doing that. But a coach leaving his team when they're in the college football playoff would be unprecedented. It would be. Well, I think it's going to happen. We'll certainly see. Not a great slate coming up. The SEC is doing its annual step out of the conference and beat everybody by 40. Missouri and Oklahoma are playing in Norman. You said you think Oklahoma's going to the playoffs, so obviously you like them to win that game at home. Yeah, I do. You know, Missouri was a fun team. I liked Bo Prevola. I thought he played really well. Without him, they are so limited on offense. And it's just, I know Oklahoma's not great on offense, but I don't know what. You know, if Missouri scores more than 14 points against this Oklahoma defense, moral victories is not what they want to hear, but that would be a very big moral victory for them. USC in Autzen Stadium in Eugene, kind of their last chance to make a statement to get potentially into the playoff. Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite there in Eugene. How do you feel about it? Trojans are alive, baby. They could get it. They could get into the college football playoff. Yeah. They won't because Oregon, I think, is going to stomp them. But they are very much alive, and this is the closest they've gotten to getting into the college football playoff with Lincoln Riley. Well, maybe they were close one of the Caleb Williams years, but this is the closest they have gotten. So it's exciting, but they are going to get rocked by Oregon. They looked really good this past weekend against Minnesota. Short line. I get it. It's on the road. I get it. But Tennessee is going to Florida where they always lose. Line just 3.5 on a 3-7 Florida team against a 7-3 Tennessee team. What do you think? I kind of like Florida, honestly. Just based off of the line movement there. I thought Lagway looked halfway decent this weekend. Tennessee is just not that impressive to me. Like Aguilar's fun. Yes, I think Heifel's a really good coach, but I don't know. There's something about them. And Florida has played ranked teams oddly well this year. It doesn't matter who they were. The unranked teams they were not as good against, but the ranked teams they've been really good against. He's Denton Day, SiriusXM's College Football Overtime Fridays and Saturdays is with us on Mondays. We'll talk again next week. Thanks, man. Hunt, appreciate it. He is Denton Day. Let's come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vole and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Your home was built around 1990, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is about the time where some of those issues in the bathroom can start to happen in terms of functionality with your shower, with some of your plumbing issues. Don't just call the guy down the street and hand him some cash and see if he can rig something up. Nope, don't do that. Call David Vole, One Bath and Closets. They've been doing this for 30 years. They can come in and they can do small, different things. They can also do a full-scale renovation if you'd like to do that. Either way, no job's too big, no job is too small. Go to the website and see pictures of some of their awesome work. They can handle the installation of showers. They can handle the removal of showers, the installation of tubs, the removal of tubs. They can handle your vanity and all of the woodworking that goes with all that. They are your one-stop shop for all of this work. They handle closets, they handle bathrooms, and they're happy to handle it for you. Go to onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation, and if you're looking for financing, they've got it. 0% up to 18 months. That's same as cash if you qualify. David Vole, One Bath and Closets. They're online. You can get that free consultation today at onebathandclosets.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members. supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
This is going to be a silly couple of weeks. If you're just jumping in the car, if you missed the show, Matt's going to have a lot from 3 to 6. You can catch my show on demand wherever you find your sound. My second segment today was talking about Lane Kiffin and the situation currently in Oxford based on what we watched on Saturday, what I've read and listened to, just kind of my reading of the tea leaves, some of the conversations that we've had over the last 24 hours. We've got a story up at LouisianaSports.net. The Advocate is reporting the exact same, that Lane Kiffin's family, including his ex-wife Layla, are in town in Baton Rouge. I told you earlier today that I was listening to Chase Parham and Neil McCready on Blue Sky Live. They cover Ole Miss. They have a podcast 3 days a week. And Chase Parham on the podcast today said that he knows that Layla Kiffin was in Gainesville yesterday. So they're doing due diligence. Everyone's doing due diligence. Ole Miss has got the contract extension ready to go. Lane Kiffin has his agent working with LSU in Florida. Lane Kiffin has his family looking at the situation. They've still got his ex-wife, who they are now simpatico. They are living in the same area. They're co-parenting 3 kids. Landry Kiffin, his daughter, has 1 year left at Ole Miss. He's got a daughter who's on USC's volleyball team. He's got his youngest, who's a boy who is got 2 years of high school left. That's I believe the quarterback at Oxford High. So it's there are a lot of moving pieces, and everybody's doing their part in this. And the thing that is just evident to me as you look at Lane Kiffin, while he is in the middle of the greatest run in his coaching career, this team this season at Ole Miss, this is the highest height he has ever reached. He's not tamping down rumors and speculation about going elsewhere and actively having folks pursue elsewhere. That does not mean that he won't wake up on Thursday this week and go, this is where it's going to be. We're going to make the playoff this year. We're just going to keep plugging along at Ole Miss. He can do that. But until he does that, it's now my opinion that he's not going to, and that he's going to make an exit from Oxford to go to LSU or Florida, which he has determined is a bigger brand, bigger stadium, bigger deal in college football than Ole Miss, who set their stadium attendance record on Saturday with just over 68,000. You can call him right. You can call him wrong. I got a feeling if you're listening to Baton Rouge, you would call him right. Got a feeling if you're listening in Oxford, you would call him wrong. Doesn't matter. All that matters is what one guy thinks. And there certainly right now is an amount of due diligence being done by everyone involved. Ultimately, the end result, one thing we know, Lane Kiffin's going to be coaching somewhere next year for a lot of coin. Where that's going to be, I can't tell you right now, but as I've reiterated a couple times throughout the show today, I just don't think it's going to be in Oxford. I don't think so. We'll see. Could be dead wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Would not be the last, but I could be dead wrong. I just don't think he's not going to. I don't think he's going to be in Oxford anymore. So we'll see. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. Flight Tracker season. How about Flight by Yingling season? How about that? Right here, it is just 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Just what you're looking for in a light beer, but also all that flavor that you're looking for in a cold pop. The oldest brewery in America, Yingling. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All right, we already talked about it, but let's bring it back. Michael Penix Jr. is out for the rest of the season with a partially torn ACL, and Drake London should be out Sunday, maybe even longer with a PCL strain. Will Tyler Shuck, my savior, put the Falcons out their misery? Take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it.
Oh, man.
Leave it. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. We got some more time to think about this. Can I trust the Saints to get another one? 2 in a row coming off the bye?
It's the Falcons, though.
It is.
It's the Falcons.
I'll take it.
Okay, we back.
I'll take it.
Okay.
We'll take it. Saints, big on Sunday. Big on Sunday.
Yes, and we're doing this on Monday. So, yes, we're doing this on Monday. Okay, so speaking of the Falcons and I guess you could say the Pelicans are 2-11 with no first-round pick.
That's correct.
And, and the Falcons are 3-7 also with no first-round pick. So, 2 teams squandering with no first-round pick. Take it or leave it.
I mean, you got to take it. It is what
I'll
it is.
take it.
You're just in a tough spot.
2 peas in the same pod.
We still feeling good about Derek Queen?
Oh, we feel great about Derek Queen. I was actually in the blender yesterday. So I had to see Steph Curry just to pay $100 and some so while Steph Curry dropped 9 points and Moses Moody become Kobe Bryant. So,
what about my guy that was yelling at Draymond?
Oh, yeah. I'm so mad I didn't pick that. I was seeing it. I don't know. So, apparently, he called Draymond a woman or something like that.
He called Draymond Angel Reese because she was missing shots, getting rebounds, and putting him back in.
Look, I get all that, but buddy, we was losing. Shut up, okay? I'm about to say
Draymond got mad about it. That's pretty harmless.
It's just trash.
You have the ability to say some things from courtside. I don't need anybody threatening anybody. I don't need anybody throw anything on the floor. There are lines that you absolutely cannot cross.
Yeah.
Just calling you a little bit of a name there, a little bit of a shot at your game. I think that's fair game.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I would say a lot worse if I was ever courtside. I'm a heckler. I love to heckle. High school games, all that. I'm heckling. It don't matter. So
high school games.
High school games.
The kids.
Hey man, you're on the court. Game is game.
You're on the court.
Hey, game is game. So, all right, James Franklin to Virginia Tech rumors have started to heat up.
Yes.
Can you see that happening? Take it or leave it.
Take it. I think that gig's there. I think Arkansas was very much interested in James Franklin.
Yeah.
And I'm still not sure where the Hogs end up in this coaching circle. But James Franklin, I think Virginia Tech's a good fit for James Franklin.
It is too, though.
Virginia's got a lot of good players. He spent time obviously in Nashville. He spent time at Maryland as well. He spent time at Penn State, so he's been in that corridor a lot, recruiting DMV. So I think that's a good fit. I think there's a possibility to have good teams at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, sure.
That program's fallen off a cliff since Frank Beamer left, and I think that would be a good fit in every respect.
No, I like it a lot, especially because I think for a guy like James Franklin, you need to go to a smaller school like that to rehabilitate your image a little bit. Not saying he has a bad image at Penn State, but he's looked at as the guy that just can't win the big game. So you can kind of revitalize that college town over there in Virginia Tech. So last but not least, Giants phenom rookie. Well, he hasn't been a phenom this season, but phenom rookie Abdul Carter was benched for the first series on Sunday because he was quote unquote sleeping in the training room during the team walkouts. Walkthroughs. So, sleeping during a meeting, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave that.
Leave it alone.
Look, Everybody every once in a while wants to get a little nap in. I got you. And sometimes you've got time to do it. Sometimes you don't. Who knows how much time he had when he went to sleep? Maybe he had some time, and his buddy forgot to wake him up. You got to have one of the clubhouse guys come in and tap you on the shoulder. Maybe you didn't take the right precautions. Maybe you got to set an alarm too. So, not great though. Can't be sleeping during the walkthrough. We probably need to be out there for that. But I need some more information as to how long he had been asleep, when he fell asleep, if he took some precautions to try to have somebody wake him up, but it seems like not great.
Well, also, I need to know, how did they catch you sleeping? Did you have like a blanket? Were you like covered up, or were you just like had your head down? It's a big difference. You can't have pillows laid out and they caught you sleeping. Can't do that. But that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for our Monday show. Hope your work week again is off to a good start. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Full shows are always archived every day on podcast platforms as well as on YouTube. You got Hunt on LSU for your LSU content, Hunt on Saints for your Saints content. There should be a lot of it here moving forward. You want Lane Kiffin talk? I've got a lot of it in the show today. Had Michael Katz on from Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal talking about the drama that's going on up there. Talked about LSU and Arkansas. Mentioned a little bit of the Saints with the Falcons injury issues. My picks against the spread, which were atrocious again. Catch all that wherever you find your sound. I'm confident Matt's going to have a lot on Lane Kiffin today, so lock him in from 3 to 6. He'll drive you home. We're back tomorrow for a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled